Hey, do you hear that too?
Yeah, I think it's over there.
Well, Durango is a bluegrass hotspot, and it has been for over 20 years.
But I like the camaraderie of it, the jamming. I've played with lots of high-powered guys, the jazz world, the rock world, but they don't jam. And I always bring them to task about that. You guys don't want to pick. They do their gig and they go home, but I like the whole fraternity. It's great. Everybody can play. I played with 5-year-old fiddle players to 95-year-old fiddle players. And there's no generation gap there in the music.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray.
You know, when I'm in some other city, I'll drop in on their jams just to see. In this town, small town in comparison to these cities, we have 2 jams every single week. And then there's an old time jam that happens once a month, Irish jam that happens every Sunday. So there's all these opportunities to get together and play versus a lot of bigger places. And then the other thing that I've noticed is that in our jams, we have really a broad range of ages. Went to a jam in Southern California, and it was all, old guys. In our jam here in Durango, what's cool is you got all of us, middle-aged guys, but we got college kids who come to our jam every week. And last night we had a couple of 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, real youngsters. But we have a broader range of participation here, I think, than we do in a lot of communities.
The intimacy of the community down here is just so far superior. I go to the jam on Wednesday nights down at the brewery, and you just never know who's going to show up. Again, this music to me is all about the social aspect. I like the music, it's really fun. Bluegrass is really fun to play, but when people ask me, why do you play bluegrass? I tell them it's because of the social reasons. It's the interaction, it's the friendships, it really is the community that this has created.
We're welcoming. Like, some bluegrass enthusiasts become a little bit religious in their view of bluegrass having to be a certain way. They get upset when the younger folks call songs that are folk songs. And I think we've stayed a little bit more open to that. Probably a tribute to Sue Coulter, who has gotten a lot of young kids involved, does a lot of teaching and tries to get those people that she teaches to come to the jams. And also is pretty open-minded. She's our leader of that jam, but she's a pretty gentle leader, and she's pretty open to whatever people want to do.
Bluegrass players as a rule don't seem to be too concerned about what your ability is or where your level is. They just want to play, and they want you to be included in that. They're very accepting. All those
very
people.
supportive. And when you're in a bluegrass jam, no matter how advanced someone might be, or intermediate, or even a novice player, I think there's a platform of support underneath even a novice player. There's an encouragement. It's a pretty positive atmosphere.
And so a lot of times I'd walk out of the boardroom after being there all day long, and then I'd step into a completely different environment and play music.
You can go anywhere, and if you go to a bluegrass jam, you'll meet new people. They're usually very welcoming. I don't think you find that much with other kinds of music.
Moved from Boulder down to the town of Durango, which I found had a very supportive music community, a lot of open opportunities to sit in with other players and learn really to play music with other people versus just sitting on your own and trying to figure it all out. And it led to so many different opportunities to perform and get on stage and fight all those jitters that sort of overtake you when you're about to open your mouth in public. It is one of the most inspiring tribes of individuals that I've ever met. And having lived up in Boulder for 21 years, I never found anything like this. I never found open jams. But in town here, there were so many jams to jump on. And then from there, you find people to play with. And it's amazing. You could be a beginning fiddle player and sit in on a jam and be really handled with soft gloves, and people would just say, listen, you might think about learning how to chop because your fiddle licks right now are not quite prime time. But very kind, very supportive. I just have been absolutely overwhelmed by the generosity and sort of the open-mindedness and inclusiveness that the local bluegrass community provides for somebody interested in playing with others and learning more about bluegrass.
any bluegrass band needs a banjo as far as I'm concerned.
What constitutes a bluegrass band?
Well, it's got to have a banjo in it.
In many people's definition, it ain't bluegrass without a banjo. One of the things that separates bluegrass from so many other kinds of music is there's no percussion. The bluegrass instruments have to make their own rhythm, and they take turns being that percussion. So a mandolin will be chopping a lot, but when a mandolin is filling, the band will be going. So kind of emulating the mandolin. But you won't do that together. And the fiddle will be drawing, long notes out. The mandolin will be playing individual notes, and the banjo will be chopping. If it's the banjo's turn to fill, then you'll hear the mandolin doing the chop and the fiddle playing behind it. Sometimes the mandolin will be taking a break, the fiddle will do the chop, and the banjo will play a real soft roll behind it. So it's pretty complex.
Vamping is basically striking multiple strings and then just pulling right off it. You can either let the strings ring or you can just vamp it. So if it's like in make my bed with a crease in the middle, make my home in a Hollywood shows, and I make my living a little bit of fiddle, playing around with a little fiddle. I just tried to showing that you can just, strike that and provide just a rhythm chop underneath.
So the very first thing I learned on the banjo is a basic Scruggs roll. And you learn a pattern called a 3-2-5-1, which goes. That goes into. So I can take that one simple. The really cool thing about that is I don't even have to worry about the left hand while I'm doing that because it's tuned to an open G chord. And it really is learning to make sure that the interval between those notes is exactly the same, so the timing. And the volume is the same of each note, so it's not like. Right? So it's got to be really consistent to get that smooth sound coming out of it.
Bill Monroe sort of pioneered the role of the mandolin in bluegrass music. He was the father of bluegrass, and he was a mandolin picker. He made the mandolin a strong part of bluegrass because he kind of started chopping, right? So chopping is something you do on beats 2 and 4. Yeah, so on the mandolin, when the chop is like this. Run, Molly, run, run on, Molly, run. They're gonna beat you in the bright shining sun. What the mandolin does there is it really emphasizes the offbeat And Bill used it to move the band along, to keep the tempo going.
I started off with the banjo, and it was a little bit heavy for me. And the mandolin's really light, and it's got a beautiful sound. I like the way how it looks, and I'm a artist too, and I like the value in the mandolin down here and the little fleur-de-lis. I don't know what that is, but it looks cool.
The mandolin just evolved for me. I picked it up at a New Year's Eve party one time, and that was about it. And 20 years later, here we are. The bass plays on the 1 and the 3, the mandolin chops on the 2 and the 4. So with this going on back and forth, you just know real soon if it's not working together.
Because if I'm
talking like this, that's usually how we play. It's really just supposed to be there as kind of like a metronome.
And what about when it's playing a lead?
So you want that to be really nice and bright and ringing.
A good rhythm is great. You gotta have that.
Okay, could you give an example?
I think that the guitar, and probably with the bass, are the foundation or the central figures of the bluegrass band. The guitar rhythm is kind of the central to the bluegrass sound. There's a nice open rhythm with a lot of space in it, not a lot of up and downs, but just leave a little space in it and give the other instruments opportunity to fill in around that. I deaden the 5th string and I add my ring finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, so it gives it a modal sound. It doesn't have a 3rd in it, so you can't tell if it's major or minor, which is a good bluegrass trait to have, so that you can have this play minor leads on top of major chords or major sounds, which gives it that kind of that lonesome sound. There's the G run, the Lester flat run.
lot of times the fiddle will be playing, you know, just long chords behind somebody else that's taking a break or whatever. You know, or they can do little fills in between the vocals. Bluegrass doesn't use percussion instruments, and so the instruments have to do their own percussion. So fiddle will be doing this number, especially when the mandolin is busy doing something else. The fiddle will take over that role of providing that chop.
It's kind of a vamp in itself, but instead of a lead, it's more of a rhythm than a fill or a solo or a melody. It's just a rhythm. And it doesn't get in the way, but it's filling something up. And a guitar can be doing anything it wants. A bass can be playing along, and I'm not in the way. I'm still able to play. Because I'm selfish. I want to be playing all the time. I don't want to just play during my little part. So I try to find stuff to do that I can do that fits without being in somebody's way.
And then of course there's fiddle banjo duets. It just floats my boat to play fiddle banjo duets. I can't even explain to you. It does something to me.
Polly, pretty Polly, come go along with me. We get married, some pleasures to see.
Fun.
My name is Jody Richardson, and I play second fiddle.
Don't keep your eye on baby, won't be coming home.
And there on the stage was the most beautiful young man playing the fiddle. He had it all. He was it. But deeper than that, the fiddle was like, oh my God. It just stirred my soul, you know? Well, I had this awesome idea that I could get to know this young man if I started playing the fiddle. We never got together or anything, but what I got out of it was a real lifetime love of playing the fiddle.
He was a fiddle maker, and he had pretty fine fiddles, but he was also a hay farmer. So Red went down, and let's just get this story correct. But
I didn't really buck the bales for him.
But you bucked for...
But I bucked bales for 3 cents a bale to buy the violin.
Yeah, 3 cents a bale for 350 It was like about 11,000 bales of hay to get his first fill. That's commitment, Bill.
And that's what I did anyway, was buck bales, but that's what I used the money for. There's a lot of bales. What's that, 13,000 bales of hay?
I think it was 11. That we could do it on a
It's a
calculator.
lot. $365 divided by 3 cents. It's a lot of bales of hay.
So the first fill he got was, he earned it.
Timekeeper, it's your job to hold the whole group down. You're kind of running the show. There's a bassist, Victor Bailey, I believe it was, he said that I'm driving the bus. Remember, I thought that was a great quote because it all comes back on the bass, especially in bluegrass.
Time with your mandolin player, rhythm with guitar, and you keep your drive with the banjo.
Not a lot of notes in bluegrass, 1/4s, 1/5s, you know. When I first started playing bluegrass, I thought, well, this is boring. But then I started discovering the nuances of playing the bass rather than rock or swing or jazz. You have to settle down, kind of settle into the groove. Let everybody do their thing, take their breaks, and every once in a while you'll get a break.
Blue night, 'cause I'm all alone. Used to call me here on telephone. She's a way her trouble and bottle of
And on the bass, you're on the downbeat. So if I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's on the downbeat. Whereas the mandolin and often the fiddle, if it's chopping or strumming, on the upbeat, typically. And so when I first started playing, it was just, well, that's the D and that's the A. I'm just doing a D chord. And if we go to a 4, you're just in a G. And that didn't even require putting your hands on the strings or essentially fretting them. And so starting out, it was just doing that 1/5 mix is not particularly challenging. You're just really keeping the beat.
Give me back my 15 cents. Give me back my money. Give me back my 15 cents. And now we're back to
They shot them graveyard dead.
The role of the dobro in bluegrass music, as I see it, is one being a rhythmic chunking.
And then the rhythm part.
Another very prominent role would would be filling in between vocal phrases.
The mountains are forever. Blue skies as far as you can see. California, there's no changing of the season. But there's been a change of faith in Tennessee.
Another one would be a lead break. You're doing breaks, you're doing fills, and you're doing rhythm.
Basically, you've got metal picks striking metal strings going into a metal resonator, and all that metal then gets kind of shaped by the wood. You're making all this sound without your fingers ever touching the fingerboard. And it's all, in fact, done with this highly machined piece of metal, which makes it a very blue-collar type thing. I mean, you're forging out the sound with a piece of metal.
Someday when my last line is written, someday when I draw my last breath. In the morning and in the night, everything will be alright. Must have been a Christian man. He led me boldly through.
Rob, what was that you said about how we work out our harmonies?
Cindy tells us what to do and we do it.
Do you ever work out just one part at a time? One harmony part with the lead?
Generally, we'll do it that way.
If we're having trouble getting it
Yeah.
intuitively, then we'll hammer it out one part at a time, yeah. 1,
Okay.
2, 3.
It's time to clean out, the party's over now. After party favors, leftover wine. I'm getting tired of picking up mess she makes you. Scraps from your table, I'm sending back to you.
So what's your melody note on that first
It's time to
B
clean
chord?
up.
So you're on a F sharp there on the B chord.
It's time to clean up.
So you're probably right there. And I'm right there. On that B chord, we're one note down and one more note down from your melody.
It's time to clean up, the party's over now. Half the party favors, leftover wine.
Boy, it doesn't sound so tight when you do it that slow.
It's time to clean up, the party's over now. Half the party favors, leftover wine. I'm getting tired of picking up the mess she makes you. Scraps from the table, I'm sending back to you. Scraps from the table, I'm sending back to you.
We need cue for when to go up and when to say K.
Yeah.
Take. So nod the head on the K. Okay. And do the. I like the swoop. Yeah. That's clear. So be watching him for that. Yeah. Okay. Lord, I can take.
Much better. Yeah, that sounded good.
Sweet.
Actually, that looks really cool when you do that too.
Way downtown, fooling around, they took me to the chair. And they told me as a Lord mine, ain't no one to go my way. Whose love is this? Oh, my soul, whose love is So we built a bridge to nowhere. You lived on the other side of town. Well, I was here thinking about you, feeling on the lower side of town.
We all read this book called Dead Run. I don't know if you guys have read it. It's awesome. It's a true story about some outlaws here in the Durango area in like 1999. They stole a water tanker and got in a high-speed chase and all that. So we all have written songs about it. This one I wrote, it's called Leave This Life Behind. It's kind of about the car chase and police pursuit and all that. And it starts off with an awesome siren that Rusty does. So European siren.
Yeah, it's a British siren. I gotta figure out how to do the American one, if anyone wants to teach me after.
Planning this for years and I've seen it in my dreams. The day my friends would see it all on their TV screens. The day the West was won back by some outlaws and their guns. The day my hopes and dreams would send me out on the run. Running out of road and I'm running out of time. These years are catching up, I've got to ease my troubled mind. Running out of road and I'm running out of time. This here is my chance for me to leave this life behind. I guess my fiance now, she'd been begging me to write a song for her. You know, I play music and that's what musicians do for girlfriends, I suppose. And it'd been 5 years and I didn't want it to be too cheesy was the problem. Because I don't know, a lot of love songs are pretty cheesy. So this is called Ain't Enough Flowers.
There ain't enough flowers in the world for my girl. Ain't enough flowers in the world. Well, I'll start thinking now, go to every shop in town, but they don't have the ones that say I love you.
One of the songs that Badly Bent does that I wrote on our first CD was a song, Where's That Cold Wind Come From? And that comes from Badly Bent playing a wedding up at Dante's. And Cindy and I were standing out on the deck watching the ceremony. And you know what it's like, it was 85 degrees or something outside, and there's this little breeze that comes out of the mountain. And Cindy goes, wow, where's that cold wind come from? It just struck me that, you know, you get this, everything seems like it's so perfect, but you get this little chill. And so the whole metaphor of this song is, you think it's great, you think it's warm outside, but you get this chill and, you know, maybe this person you're with is going to leave you.
You told me you'd be here through sun and through rain. You told me you'd love me till our dying days. The temperature is dropping, but the air's still warm. I just can't imagine where that cold wind comes from. Trees are shaking, the grass is straight. There's no waves on the pond, the wind shines no rain. Tell me, I just can't imagine where that cold wind comes from.
So songwriting can be as deeply emotional as personal experience, what you know in life.
What about Put the Whiskey Back in the Bottle? What inspired that?
That was a bike ride. On a road bike, your mind can travel. So I was riding along and I had this idea about, you know, negative experiences and how maybe inspired through abuse of alcohol. You end up with the first verse and then you've got sort of a theme for a song that you then have to finish off.
Ain't no right, ain't no wrong. Days are short, oh, the nights are long. I miss those arms that held me tight. My love of whiskey, Lord, I could not.
4 months into living in Durango, my wife Pam was diagnosed with breast cancer. My first wife had died of breast cancer, and so this was hard to grasp, understanding why this was happening, why the lightning was striking twice in my life. But I have to say, while we were going through all that together, the one thing I had that was a solid base was music.
once to twice a week, playing with fellow musicians, and really what became my community at a time when cancer becomes the center of your universe. Music gave me a place to go escape from all that.
Take all my sorries, put them on the label.
We were sitting around one night and I had this idea. I thought it would be cool to do something outside of kind of formal music just for kids who just want to play and be a little more, I guess, relaxed maybe. I don't know if that's the right word, but do some bluegrass, do something that they could use with friends and just hanging out and playing. So started trying to get some money for instruments. Our principal of Escalante, I think, started us out with $800 or $1,000, and then we got a bass. We got a stand-up bass that was donated from
Rotary.
Yep.
We got several donations from people as well. We advertised, and Mark Katz was great. We got a couple mandolins and a guitar, really nice Martin from him.
There are about 12 really kids who are in it all the time and doing it. You come in and you kind of hook up with your instrument group to learn the songs, and you come back together and play all together and work up to the end of the year performance at the Bluegrass Meltdown.
We've had kids from 4th graders, 5th graders come from other schools as well.
High school?
Yeah, in the high school.
I think the most successful kids in that program are the ones that are self-motivated. There's no grade, there's no requirement they have to show up. So the ones that show up every week and actually practice are the ones that it's most beneficial for, I think. Martin being our best example, our shining example.
It's a lot of fun for the kids. They show up and they socialize, and we try to have snacks. Everybody makes it really fun. Rusty came up with an awesome idea just to, get the kids to kind of drop some of their inhibitions and not worry so much about getting the wrong note. He plays little games like that with them, and oh my gosh, they get laughing so hard, and I just think it's really fun. I think that's why they keep coming back.
So have you been involved with the Bluegrass Music in the Schools program?
Yes, yeah, with various people, with different bands. The Meltdown sets that up. They contact the schools and they contact people to play. And they also provide somebody to do sound. And we just go in and they come like into the gymnasium or whatever and we do like a 45-minute set.
We proposed doing a concert at the high school. So the first year we had just that one concert, and that's all we did for a couple of years.
Schools, then the middle school said, well, we want something. And then the elementary schools, well, why aren't you coming to, so they wanted.
And fast forward to today, I think last year we served 20 schools. This year we're close to serving 20 schools. Several years ago, Sally Zwizzler took it on as her project, and she's really taken it to 4 or 5 counties, school districts.
One thing the Meltdown does that a lot of other organizations don't do, it's all free to the schools. In Denver, the Colorado Bluegrass Music Society does it, and they're charging the schools hundreds of dollars to bring in bands to do the exact same thing.
Lori and I both did a lot of conservation education programs at the schools, and so we thought this would be really fun to bring the music part of it into that, because bluegrass music is so upbeat and it would be such a positive message.
We did a proposal to the leadership team of the Forest Service and presented this idea saying, would you be willing for us to take some of our work time and actually do these school presentations? And they okayed it. We're very fortunate.
All of our songs have a conservation education message, and we have some kind of information or specific message that we're trying to portray with this song, and we do lots of skits and crazy things.
She sounds like it's all very, methodical and whatnot, but really what we do is we put silly hats on and we sing. But it really engages the kids. They love it when you ham it up and when you can just be lighthearted, I think.
And bluegrass is just the perfect venue for that, because it really is upbeat, lighthearted music that really engages the kids.
The studios of KSUT, Four Corners Public Radio in Ignacio, Colorado. And this is your producer and host, Hugh Felt. Happy to be here once again. Glad you're listening.
This is the Resbilly Breakdown Bluegrass Show. 2.5 hours of bluegrass music for our listeners. If you do have any requests, please call us at 970-2.
We've had bluegrass on Tuesday nights from 6:30 to 9 p.m. for as long as I can remember. Grandma's Featherbed. When David Smith hosted it, it was called the Sweet By and By. We have a rotating crew of DJs that actually do the shows. Right now, currently it's Stephanie, Mike, and Doug Wakeman. So Stephanie has a name for her when she's on. It's the Resbilly Breakdown Bluegrass Show, and I'm not 100% sure, but she might be the only Native American bluegrass DJ in the country.
We're really fortunate in Durango to have 2 high-quality public radio stations in KDUR and KSUT. I think listeners in bigger cities are subject to whatever the whims of top 40 radio are, whether it's country or hip-hop or pop music. Here in the Four Corners, it seems like KDUR, KSCT do a great job of playing the type of music that we all get the opportunity to go see and play ourselves. Well, for the past 20 years, Hugh Felt has been Durango's Mr. Bluegrass. He's hosted his Grass is Bluer show here at KSUT, and he delivers it with an honest voice and keeps a little bit of who he is in his broadcast.
For the next couple of hours, if possible, we explore the world of bluegrass and listen to the music.
What you hear on the air is what you'd hear if you're sitting around a campfire and Hugh's picking his banjo. He knows more about bluegrass than any person I know of, and he shares that with the listener. But what makes it special is this is music that Hugh loves. When Hugh leaves the station, it's the music he's listening to. When he's picking for himself, it's the music that he's playing. And you hear that in The Grass is Bluer. He's the father of it all here. He is truly Durango's Mr. Bluegrass.
I host a talk show on Fridays at 5:30 p.m. that's called The Music Lesson. And probably for the last 7 or 8 years, my program, the Friday before and then the Friday of the Meltdown, will always feature one particular artist or band that will be performing that week.
Another gambler started raging and he cursed me for cheat. My Colt revolver found its mark as we both jumped to our feet. I shut him down, I shut him down. That is the end of the game. I spurred my horse to racing from town to make my way. The sheriff was close behind and he was in no mood to play. They caught me just past sunset, my horse was all broke down. I vowed as they closed in I wouldn't go head back to town. Shut him down, shut him down. That is the end of the game. Then I headed west toward the mountains to find a place where I could rest. They bought a friendly farmer, asked if I could be his guest.
There's a festival that happens in Southwest Colorado every April that rivals any other festival in the country, and it's fun. And you know, the buzz about it in the music community I find very interesting. Like, go play the Meltdown. If you're a band in Nashville or you're a band on the East Coast and you have an opportunity to go play the Meltdown, go do it. It's fun. The audiences are great. The board of directors and the volunteers take care of, are very nice to you.
Michael Burke was looking to create this organization and do bluegrass. It's one of those really wonderful things to do in April. People look forward to April coming so they can hear the Bluegrass Meltdown. They can see the families in the lobby of the Strader and the jam sessions.
Larry Boyce, the bass player, he'd been around bluegrass in Arkansas for a long time. Mike Burke moved here in the late 70s, and he was around bluegrass from the Washington, D.C. area a long time. I think those two guys, more than anyone, came up with the idea to start a bluegrass festival.
This was a brainstorming session. Remember that mountain music, there was Durango Mountain Music, Durango Bluegrass Festival, Durango Music Jamboree, Durango Bluegrass Meltdown, Southwest Bluegrass Meltdown. See, somebody came up with this meltdown right about there.
Tell it.
Four Corners Bluegrass Meltdown. I think everybody liked Meltdown.
Well, yeah.
San Juan Bluegrass Meltdown, Main Street Bluegrass Meltdown, Southwestern Music Meltdown, La Plata Mountain Meltdown, Southwestern Meltdown, Rocky Mountain Meltdown, Durango Bluegrass Fest, Tangle of Strings. Why did I have band scramble written there?
Oh, I don't know.
With an arrow.
Maybe.
It was a brainstorming thing.
Yeah.
Durango Meltdown. And then a bluegrass festival. So it was Durango Meltdown, a bluegrass festival, which I think was on our first poster.
What separates the Durango Bluegrass Meltdown from other festivals, and I've been to a lot of them, is how it weaves local bands with regional bands with national bands. And here in Durango, we've seen people graduate from the local to the regional, like with the success of the Badley Bent winning the Telluride Bluegrass competition.
money when I ain't broke. Brother, I'm bound to bend.
Or clear to the national stage, where members of Broke Mountain broke free to join Green Sky and the infamous String Dusters and some other major bands. It really shows that, like the Carter family sang, the circle will be unbroken, and that's what happens here in Durango. You'll have national acts followed and preceded by local acts all through the weekend, and it gives our local pickers something to aspire to.
Oh, I knew what it was. It was blue, blue mountain, my lights, I was stumbling around into the night. It was hopeless, I'm helpless, saying love. Oh, honey, it must be love you know. It must be love, it comes from heaven above. Yeah, baby, it must be love. Tell me it must be love, 'cause I'm hopeless, I'm helpless, saying love.
It's like nowhere that I've ever experienced as far as a town goes. And, you know, I see it in Colorado and other places, but I had no idea the power of music until I moved to this town and saw just how so many people embrace it. I mean, bluegrass is, in this town, it's a big deal.
Every big Vernon Granger with his dream to own a mine, saw his fortune back in 49. But the silver in his hair's about the best that he will find. Sometimes win, sometimes ten, sometimes dig for tears. You gotta go, dig that hole. You gotta go.
One of the reasons I like the Meltdown so much, no matter who you are or what your ability is, there's a venue. You can be in the lobby of the Strader or down on Main Street or wherever, and there's 10 people willing to sit and play with you. Whether you get on stage or not is kind of beside the point. My favorite thing is just walking around town and playing with whoever happens to be playing.
With our festival and very few others, if you have the Treasured Green band, you can get in and all the volunteers get in and the musicians go in there, have some food, drink, and mix. And so people get to talk with each other. It's a really great social kind of focal point.
We've had countless bands come through here and speak to all different board members and comment to us. My God, do you do this every year? Other festivals don't do this. This is amazing. They're complimentary and you know, it's kind of like the norm for us. It is a nice thing.
The other thing you have to remember is what the Strader has done for us. They allow us to take over their entire historic hotel. Every nook and cranny, every room. That's unbelievable given, what a wonderful space it is. And they allow us to bring in the food and beverage. Nobody gets to do that.
Basically, it's contacting all the restaurants, getting them lined up with food donations. A lot of planning, organizing, keeping restaurants happy. I dealt with about 18 different restaurants and businesses all together. And
Who were the main contributors this year for food? What restaurants?
the biggest one is the Palace restaurant here, and they've been donating 18 years now. Done a real good job with the Saturday dinner.
We put together the Saturday night green room dinner for about 200 people, and we've been doing it for 18 years, and it's basically the same menu since we've been doing it. It's a baked penne pasta with a nice big Caesar salad and some garlic bread and some desserts, and it's pretty simple, but I know when you're a volunteer and you're working as hard as you do, it tastes great.
You do the breakfast for the Meltdown?
Yes, I've done the breakfast for a couple years working with Carver's, and this year we're doing it with Brew and College Drive Cafe. So we have scrambled eggs and biscuits and gravy.
And tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are doing potato quiches, and then we also have bagels and cream cheese from Durango Bagel.
It's the 20th anniversary of the Meltdown. So Kathy decided that she's going to get a cake that has 20th anniversary Meltdown on it, and we're going to cut the cake in the green room.
But we'd like to thank Michael, Sandy too, and all the board members that started this 20 years ago. You probably never envisioned that it would turn into this type of festival.
I love bluegrass music, and it just fits right in the Strader. It's fun to see it in the lobby and in all the rooms surrounding the public spaces, and people just have fun. People love to travel and be entertained by local kinds of things, and there isn't much more local than bluegrass. The character of the Strader Hotel is the character of the community, and the Bluegrass Festival is a very community-oriented event. And what Durango is what the Strader is. And so the things that we try to do, whether it's the Bluegrass Festival or the Cowboy Poetry Gathering, it's all about what we do together. The Bluegrass Festival is as much a necessary thing for us as we are for them, and we love it that way. We love the fact that we participate together, we become something better together than either one of us could do on our own.
We have to have a sound crew at each venue, also a stage manager for each venue who sets up the microphones.
When you're setting up with a band, one band, and you have a full sound check and everything's ready and you open the doors, the audience comes in and they get on and they do their thing and everything's set and ready to go, is really different than a multi-band day where you have 15 minutes between bands and a printed guide ahead of time that says this is what's going to happen, and the previous band finishes, you're trying to rush them off the stage at the same time the next band's coming on, the MC's talking, and you do that in 10 to 15 minutes, and then do the next band, and then do the next band, and the next band.
Good to see you again. It's been a whole hour.
I know, it's crazy. Are they going to set these for us for a sound check, or are we allowed to mess with them?
She said it wasn't dull enough. I took her at her word.
Always came up on this.
Yeah, thank you. And a little bit of this vocal, not very much. Check 1, 2, check, just check 1, 2. There you go.
You got this Mando in the house, okay?
Can I get a little more banjo in this one, please?
We had 15 local bands this year, which is kind of hard to imagine for a small town like this. The Meltdown really seems to cater a lot to the local bluegrass scene and gives good opportunity for a lot of smaller bands to get on stage with professional sound, and it's a really great opportunity to get some exposure.
The biggest challenge is something probably most people wouldn't even think about. It is maintaining the energy and the focus and not burning out after Friday night's fairly easy with 3 or 4 hours of performance, and Saturday you show up to set up at around 9:30 in the morning and you finish at 10 o'clock that night, and there's a limit to how long you can focus and really be aware and adjust in real time to another band, to another band, to another band, to another band, sitting in one chair, one space, hopefully getting enough food in you, and keep hearing clearly enough, well enough, in your brain staying focused enough without burning out to keep the later bands sounding as good and putting as much energy into making them sound good as the first few bands. That's important because people sitting there later in the day deserve to hear just as good a sound as the people in the morning. So it really helps to have people with experience and doing the best they can with good help on stage. That's really important. The stage hands are practically 50% of the job.
If you want to play into your vocal mic so you don't have two things there, that's fine, or I can slip
I guess that's what I've always done.
That's fine, let's do that. Do you want a mic?
Yeah, instrument mic and a vocal mic.
Perfect. Yep. Got it. Perfect, thank you. Thank you.
Because if you're sitting out there doing your thing with controlling the sound and you're all stressed out about things happening right on stage or things aren't right, you really have to be freed up to do your focusing on listening and adjusting. And you can tell during a show how a band is feeling on stage.
Oh my goodness, is everything sounding good to you guys?
A big hand for the sound crew. Man, it's sounding great up here. They're making it fun for us. Yeah. Wonderful job. If we could afford them, we'd just hire them and take them everywhere with us.
Let's
They make
do
it
that.
sound this
Let's
good, man.
be
It's fun.
Let's take out a loan and do that. That'd be great.
In the earlier years when I used to not take breaks and get super burned out, by the end of the night I'd be like in bed. And the last couple of years taking more breaks, I've been able to float around mostly in the Strader afterwards and hang out for an hour or two and really tune into the energy of everybody just playing. I still enjoy the energy that everybody has and just the music that can happen without a PA system, without microphones. To me, that gets really magic when people are standing around just doing their thing. Just because I do sound for a living doesn't mean that everything has to be amplified, and the real magic of music comes from the people. And sometimes the PA and the microphones just get in the way. I'm floating around the Strader and hearing, standing by somebody singing 2 feet away from me, that magic is there.
He turned water to whiskey, that's what preachers say. Well, Lord, I need a miracle, get me through the day. Muddy water, come wash my blues away.
Down on for you. All right. But y'all get two up in the front. Yeah, we got it. Yeah. It's going to be 2 and 1. Banjo and fiddle and mayhem from there. Time? I don't know.
They could be doing 10 more songs.
No.
The second one is Love You.
So come in on those bum, bum, bum. You'll hear it.
Well, Susie went huckleberry picking, ate so much, came home sick, then hey, pretty little black-eyed Susie, ho, pretty little black-eyed Susie, hey.
Hey man, we're gonna go figure out what's going on.
$300 bar.
Nice.
Okay. We're good. Thank you.
Nice work.
Nice work.
There's a whole other day behind Durango Bluegrass Meltdown. In the middle of the night, something just stare at midnight. My head feels hot, my hands so cold. So few years and I feel so old.
Missouri. Missouri.
I live here now.
Bob Spinner is his name.
And you know the rest of the cast of characters here. Some of that Colorado band, Jeff Scroggs, Tristan, you got Greg over there, and you got Jeff Hishman on the bass. This band from Eminence, Missouri. Give them a big hand. They're going to knock off 3 numbers for you. Yeah, all right.
I've been standing on the rock, waiting for the wind to blow. I've been standing on the rock, waiting for the wind to blow. I've been standing on the rock, waiting for my seed to grow.
Yokels, I like to call them. They're a bunch of friends of mine. I particularly like the bass player because I'm kind of jealous of her. Being a bass player, I don't get to wear a dress or a skirt like that. Although I think I would look good in a skirt. Maybe not quite as good, but nonetheless. I would tell you one of the banjo player in this band is also a board member, so if you're going to throw a tomato, aim at the banjo. So why don't we give these guys a great Durango welcome. Let's welcome Sugar Creek.
She was so tall and handsome, so pretty and so fair.
if it made any difference if I crossed over the plain. Said it made no difference if you return again. She said
Which way to the stage?
hang high, you're headed straight to hell. Hang high, we'll spend no time in a prison cell. Hey, my hopes and dreams set me out on the run. Running down the road and I'm running out of time. Tears are catching up, I've got to ease my troubled mind. Running down the road and I'm running out of time. This here is my chance for me to leave this life behind. We built a bridge to nowhere. You lived on the other side of town. Well, I was here thinking about you, feeling on the lower side of town. I've been up, and down, been in between. I've been up, and down, been in between. I've been up, and down, been in between. That's meant for me. That's meant for me. I take back my random ways, time to live my life during the day. Put that whiskey bottle down for good. No more sitting all night still with beer, whiskey, and ass mouth fuel. Tell that random life I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay.
Darling, will you marry me? I asked the maiden there. Turned my back upon her when I looked, she wasn't there. She left me standing, standing on the mountain. She left me standing way up there. Where the honeybees are buzzing around the flowers fair, that is where she been, is somewhere in that mountain air. She left me standing, standing on the mountain. She left me standing way up there. I just saw a whippoorwill talking to a bear. They were both laughing at her, giving me the air. She left me standing, standing on the mountain. She left me standing way up there. I would give most anything if once more she'd appear. Tell me that she cared a little for this mountaineer. She left me standing, standing on the mountain. She left me standing way up there. Darling, will you marry me? I asked the maiden there. Turned my back upon her when I looked, she wasn't there. She left me standing, standing on the mountain. She left me standing way up there. She left me standing on the mountain. She left me standing way up there.
It's a good thing that Greg Blake is actually a preacher. So Greg he's playing hooky from his regular Sunday gig to be here with you. So open up your hearts and open up your arms. Let's get ready for Jeff Scroggins in Colorado.
We're the Earl Brothers. We're playing here tonight.
The Earl Brothers?
The Earl Brothers.
All right. Great.
You guys ready to go? I am. Well, what do you think? Let's welcome the Earl Brothers.
Took a ride on a golden street, my pretty baby sure looks sweet. In the morning and in the night, everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Well, I don't know how we ended up here. Me and my baby gonna drink a little beer. In the morning and in the night, everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Well, I went out the other night walking in the rain. This will be the last time to say goodbye again. Don't keep your light on, baby, or won't be coming home. Don't keep your light on, baby, won't be coming home. We can't get together, things are going all wrong. There's nothing left for me to say, I think I'm moving home. Don't keep your light on, baby, won't be coming home. Hit it, Phil. My old hen, she got a big for a friend, comes up to meet him when he comes out of the pen. Look over the hen, look and sing, laying the mixes late last spring. Look all in, digging and a scratching and a giving me a grin. Look all in, there wasn't more egg for me and my kid. Hey, 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 took off my wedding ring. Hey, 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 going down that old dirt road. Hey, 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 took off my wedding, going home. Here we come.
And, you know, it's their 20th year as a band, along with our 20th year as a festival. That alone deserves some applause. Well, without further ado, what do you think? Huh? Let's welcome Blue Highway!
On a horse, 17 heads high, he rode in Sherman's army to Atlanta town against her. Well, it took my woman from me. Then I grabbed my knife and both of my guns, and the light was on it, called her. On the night that pours, I swore once more as I live, Sycamore Holler. I will bring the farmer's daughter back to Sycamore Holler. Well, like me, girl, like her, they will always be together.
There he is.
Won't you spur me over till Britney Spears? Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, something I heard that maybe even trumps you being a Kiss fan is you being a Led Zeppelin fan. Is there anything
Folks,
like
we
that?
got any Led Zeppelin fans here?
Lead hands.
Thank you, both of you. Appreciate
What,
it.
what would be your favorite?
Where in the world did he get a name like Led Zeppelin?
I believe that's Dale turned backwards.
Dale McCurry backwards.
Dale McCurry, yeah.
I believe so. Well, of all the Led Zeppelin tunes, what's your favorite?
I always liked that Black Dog.
Black Dog, boy, that's a good one. Are you clear enough to render that?
Let me see here. Sean, give me a G, see if I can render it for you. Oh, baby, won't you shake that thing? Oh, make it burn, oh, make it stir. Thank you, folks.
I came across an interesting quote in Rolling Stone. Recent quote here. It says, the band sang achingly beautiful ballads. Achingly beautiful. That is awesome.
You were my redemption, but the cost is way too high. Salvation don't mean nothing till it's free. I made my peace with my maker. Now I'm ready to move on. To roll a stone across the door. The body of our love is lying in the tomb. It's gone and will rise again no more. In Montana, the mountains are forever. Blue skies as far as you can see. California, there's no changing of the season. But there's been a change of faith in Tennessee. Yeah, there's been a change of faith in Tennessee.
This is a promoter's medicine for being calm and collected on the last day of Meltdown.
That's really good. That's good beer.
It's very good.
That's nice.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright, so when we're singing, let's try to not open our mouths and sing through our teeth like he is.
Stress is a matter of mind, right?
So we don't suffer from issues of the mind.
It's going to be 2 and 1. Banjo and fiddle and mayhem from there.
One of the things that I so enjoy about playing in a bluegrass ensemble is there's so much visual communication that has to happen all the time.
Was that some kind of spot? I mean, like, I would go like that. Is that a joke? So your neck's not even. Yeah, has all the space you could ever want. After your. Okay. Yeah, gotcha. After your first.
Be honest.
I was told that bluegrass music was the devil's music. So
and that's why you like it?
I was naturally drawn to it when somebody said that.
The space you could ever want. After your. Okay. Yeah, gotcha. After your first solo, like I'll move here, and then I can like. Because that banjo is gonna, and if you're hitting blap 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 blap,
I need to move all the way out of the mix. Okay,
yeah,
okay, got it.
Like come side, like come right side, and I can move.
Yeah, but I need to be back.
I was about to say, excuse me, is this a joke?
Should I not do those?
No, well.
But you can, as long as you like mind the the space, like how loud a banjo just is.
As long as you're behind the yellow tape.
Behind the homicide line.
Yes.
Behind the homicide. Here we go.
He did mention too that Wayne is a sex symbol, and I want to make sure. Actually, I had somebody ask me before the show, Wayne, boxers or briefs? Depends. Now, wait a minute.
Doesn't matter if it's good, it only matters if it rocks.
What drew you to want to play the banjo?
The Beverly Hillbillies.
Really?
And why did you choose mandolin?
Because banjo players get too much shit.
Good.